like you to do is take the lacing and go up through this hole and then come down through the next hole. Can you do that? I'd like you to do 3 of those, please.
I like that look. Explore, girl, explore.
Good. Okay, so she did that. Okay. What you'll see with people, I mean, this is pretty easy. All of us should be able to do this. Okay. You will see some of the people you're working with right now cannot do that, and you will be like, wow. And yet I can have a conversation with them.
Yeah.
You will see people may have good verbal and social skills, but cognitively they might be pretty impaired. Okay, this next stitch, Jennifer, goes like this around, and you see that the lace has a shine. I'm sort of rephrasing the instructions. They're right in the manual. It has a rough side and a smooth side. I want the smooth round side to always be showing, and I want you to make 3 of those stitches. This is called the whip stitch. Like you do for a hat.
Have that one demonstrated already on here?
Yes, you start with 3 stitches. So when I said set it up, you want to go ready with 3 stitches of each type there.
That way they have their visual model.
Right. Because if they're manual actions, they have to have a model. If they're level 4, they even have to have a model. Okay? And she did those just fine. Now you're going to make a mistake. And here's where we start to have problem solving. And you kind of go like this, and you, so they don't see what you're doing,
Kind of turn away so they can't see.
and you twist it.
There's what they just did.
Yeah, you
Just
twist it back, because remember, I had said that the brown side of the leather needs to be showing.
The smooth, shiny
Well,
side.
now I put the black side of the leather out, and I twisted it.
Yeah.
Can you see my mistake?
You messed it up.
Okay, can you fix it for me, please?
Now, this is where you grade them and
Right.
how they fix it.
Why did they take the whole string out?
They're
That's
going to
okay.
get,
Yeah.
well, they'll get a lower score.
Yeah.
Because you want them just to
Do the most efficient
Yeah.
way.
Mhm, mhm. Okay, you know what? I'm going to make another mistake, okay? And on this one, I'm going to cross through the back of the hole, okay?
It's just like a little
And
X.
really screw it up. Can you see my mistake?
You messed it up.
Okay. So now where she has to take this one out to fix it. Whereas the other one, you could sort of pull it up and twist it back, right? You don't have to take it all out. This is a little more complex of a little problem to solve, okay? This last stitch, you're all going to be pissed
Yeah.
that you can't
I
do
know
it,
you guys.
okay? A couple of you are going to get it right away. The rest of you are going to feel like idiots,
Well, I'm
okay?
feeling like an idiot right now.
Okay, well, there you go. Welcome to my world. Okay, so what you have them do, you have 3 of these, it's called the single cordovan stitch, this last stitch, okay? And you don't give any instructions. And you say, this is where we're getting at exploratory and planned actions. No real, I mean, there is a model, but this is a novel problem, right? Unless you've done leather lacing, you may have been exposed to these 2 kind of sewing, but not this one. And she may have done it in prison, but you know. Okay, Jennifer, can you figure this out and do this last stitch? And you're not going to say anything here, okay? Until, if she's obviously getting frustrated and having problems, you might then say, tell me what you're thinking as you're doing this. So you want to get into their head and see how they're problem solving. Sometimes you're going to look, so I have to figure out, she did do it right. She did it good, okay? So I'd like for you, So basically, let me kind of give you a verbal instruction, okay? Everybody watch up here for a minute, okay? And if you could zoom in, Felicia, I'm gonna try to, okay? You make a loop here, right? And you're gonna pull it through, and you kind of use your finger to hold it. That's one trick, first of all.
Yeah.
So you keep the loop there. And then you're gonna go back through that same hole, kind of in a crisscross way. Okay? So you go this way, and then you go back through the leather, through the lace.
Back through where you're holding it.
Yeah. And I think I may have done it in the wrong direction. See, that's why I did it in the wrong direction. So I gotta go back the other way.
Go to, and try harder.
Which way?
Okay. Go in and go this way.
Go that way?
Mhm. You're gonna go in and go to your left when you're looking at it.
My left, this way.
Yeah, think about the back of the leather.
Yeah, that was a good instruction, Jennifer.
It wasn't you?
That worked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I tell my students, always
Okay.
go to the left.
So, you can work on that one. Just try to work on that stitch. Okay, so, just listen while you're lacing and not get frustrated. A couple things I want to instruct you on. There's weird needles for this leather. And the needles are actually screw needles. They're really strange needles. And what you do is you, listen up for this one, you cut the leather kind of on an angle, and you take the point of the leather and you actually screw the gold needle into the leather. I don't know why we don't string it, but this is the way you do this test kit. Okay? The other thing to keep in mind is that based on how they do, you then score them, okay? And if you look in the manual, starts on page 34, there is criteria for what Allen level they're at, okay? Now, here's the important thing. You don't want to assume just because somebody is at an Allen 3.2, okay, that they are definitely at that stage. You want to use the routine task inventory to verify, yeah, they really are at that level, or there's something called the Allen Diagnostic Module, which is like craft activities that validate that they're at that level. Additionally, you might say to yourself, so what? What do I do with this? Do you have the gray books?
There's one right up there.
Okay, so how do I write this up? I'm not going to write a medical record, not because I'm embarrassed, but people won't get it.
Yeah, they don't know what it means.
I say on the Allen Cognitive Level screen, the patient scored a level 3.2, which means da-da-da-da-da-da, whatever the description of 3.2 is in here. Now, here's what I'm cautioning you against, okay? This is, and if you do it, you'll get gigged down on your case study. This is, somebody scored a 4.2. This is a description of that level. This is likely what their abilities are. And the cool thing is, it gives recommendations for structuring their daily living and their work-related activities. Don't copy this word for word, because if you say to me, this is what it says. Description, 38% cognitive assistance. What the heck does 38%, I mean, it's dumb. What the words are more important than the number in this case.
What page is that on? I'm sorry.
This is not in there. This is where you have to, once you get a score, come to the gray book,
Okay.
where you can then write up what that means.
Okay.
So it says, a person at 4.0, okay, 4.2, would need 24-hour supervision to remove dangerous objects and to solve problems arising from minor changes in their environment. The person may spend a daily allowance, walk to familiar locations in their neighborhood, or follow a simple, familiar bus route. 38% cognitive assistance, and again, don't use that percent, but say this type of cognitive level, is required to recognize and correct hazards in the routine activities. And they say recommendations for work, for example, for this person, it gives you all of ideas for goals, okay? Work in social relations. This is what we should do. So if this person is in a sheltered workshop and I'm writing recommendations for the staff who's working with him, these might be some of the recommendations for someone who's at a level 4. Supervise the client by showing them how to do a new activity one step at a time. Do not depend on signs or post-it notes as a reminder. So, you know, the staff will come to you and say, I put notes up and they don't seem to do it. Well, maybe we have to set up something where they get a verbal reminder every day to brush their teeth, because that's where their cognitive level is at, and it might not get any better. Avoid reading to get new information or having the client have to read for the next step, because that may be too complex. Limit work hours to 2 to 3 hours per day. These people are not going to have the attention span to work more than that. Provide standby supervision while working. So they may need a job coach in the building. Allow 2 to 3 times the normal rate to get a job done. Well, that means that this person is not necessarily going to be productively employed. If they are stuck at a 4.0, they may really always be in a sheltered workshop situation, or in a workplace that really is understanding and accepting that it takes them 3 times as long to do something. And in fact, in your lab manual, I believe, if not, I'll give you this case. This case of a guy named Alfonso that I met at a Kroger, who took an inordinately long time to do anything at work. But Kroger was tolerant of that, and he was a good employee, and so they kept him on, okay? But he was kind of probably at a 4 something in the Allen cognitive level. Does that make sense? So kind of ignore the fact that this seems like ridiculous. They've actually done correlations between this and the WIST intelligence scale. It's amazing. And the Rancho scale.
Like, doesn't it make it easier the next time? Or they still
if they've done it before, they'll be able to do the whip stitch and the running. This single cordovan is really difficult cognitively. So even me, I've done it before, and I still can't do it. I mean, I can, but if I only do this once a year when I'm teaching it to you, I ain't gonna remember it.
So when do you use this the most?
I use it with a lot of my mental health clients. Read my case. I think read my case in, I forget what week in the lab manual. Just do digitally on the lab manual, just do a find for a woman named Teresa, and I think I spell it the way you spell your Teresa without the H.
Okay.
And you'll find the case. It's like 8 pages long. That I put it in your lab manual, and you'll see how I wrote up the ACL, how I wrote up the IADL tests. Okay?
So this is all on Blackboard already?
Yes, ma'am, under the lab manual. Okay? So it gives you an example. Let's stop here. During our next time on ground, we'll finish the cognitive and the psychosocial assessments. Okay?